Thank you for tuning in to watch our 4th annual Invest Nashville Leadership Summit. You're about to watch panel number 2, Healing Grounds, how healthcare and education campus developments are driving real estate growth and how the wider community benefits from these projects. Be sure to like and subscribe for more leadership insights. Enjoy.
Good morning. This is our campus. This is our third year to be associated with CAA, Shades. We're totally alert or being affiliated with them with all of you. And Abby, maybe someone to share your school. This, and it reminded me, this Sunday is the International Women's Day. And so not Arik is scoring. I look around this one and I see on the table entrepreneurs. Let's celebrate you and sign down. Well strategy partners, it is a element values of women, it's the values and female investor. 2 tenants of all leadership team with female, the chairman of our board is female. So I had to learn to become a very good listener with a leadership team. When I think of the one invest, we're talking about invest Nashville. When I think of the word invest, I think of what comes with what is invest in people. It means growth. And when I think of Nashville, the other word that I think of is growth. And what's going on in Nashville and what's going to continue to happen in this city, it's a mirror. Let's go on at Well Strategies. Right now, we're boutique employing time that we made in $600 million in assets. Our 1 year goal is to grow that to $1 billion, and our 10-year goal is to be a $5 million growth. So what's going on here as completely mirrors the whole genre of what strategy path. And as CEO is telling, and so all of us that are out here that are running companies, as leading the city itself, it's great to have that vision, but there's also of challenges that come with. It's interesting that we were just talking about infrastructure. As the CEO of Mountain, one of the biggest challenges that I think about on a daily basis is how do we continue to build the infrastructure at the time for the important for us to achieve our goals. And it's how do we build the infrastructure, we're going to build succession at some point while protecting the culture of the company. I feel like as CEO of the company, my biggest responsibility is to fiercely attack into the culture of our child. And so with that, I believe that it's a challenge, but it's also an opportunity for us to continue to add value for the city. It's an opportunity for us to continue to impact lives and to make our communities, to make Nashville and more importantly, we all have a responsibility to make this place a better place. Looking forward to the rest of the day. And thank you so much.
Well, I am a minister, so good morning. My name is Clifton Harris. I'm the president and CEO of the American League of Better Tennessee, and I'm going to give the honor Monterey. And I'm going to do that. Before I do, I want to draw attention, though, to the second banner out to my right, reads right to left, for the civic snow. You've never been to an Urban League Summit. There's no party like the Urban League terms. It all ever be to compete for over 10,000 people. The business is tough. So let's talk about what we're focused on the next. So, I read the title of Healing Ground. I was like, okay, what is this going to be about? Right. But then as I kept reading things about how healthcare and education campuses develop and drive economic development as far as real estate growth, and have a lot of community benefits from these projects. And we'll focus today on how healthcare systems, educational institutions are investing in campuses that will still beyond their operation to the field. healthcare and education lead campus projects and impact development, and how institutions are nation-based establishing, and what needs and investments lead for the community around us. And ladies and gentlemen, we have an esteemed guest analyst in the area that is, has subject matter and knowledge of what they're talking about. So I'm going to ask you all to do three things, and three things, and but I'm going to engage the ground rules of one. If I say, "Wow, that's good," that means code for everything that you ever listen and should put back in. Okay, so I want you to tell people who you are, what you do, and how you impact this.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Harry Ablin. I am Executive Vice President for Financial Excellence and CFO at Belmont University. And I am a sixth-generation Nashvilleian and have been a citizen and a community volunteer and servant my whole life. And so I said, wow, with best, and I'm kind of within kind of the community. I try to be in the Lord of everything that Nashville's given to me. I'm trying to commit to the city that raised. Good morning, everyone. My name is Arik. I am a bit without State University in Conway, and I am the director of business and research after the house with chair of the forum and digital management. And I've been here in Tennessee at the same institution for 23 years. And then throughout these 23 years, actually, I've been out there, for myself, dealing with community issues and challenges and was built Tennessee, do research, interviews, do oral, and trying to say eventually spread that. Currently, about 10 forums. This is some small forums that we organize partly at MTSU and of all the forums just to find them together and have a start and file about the challenges that you face. Thank you, Jimmy.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Tushmil. I'm the Director of Healthcare Partnerships for Nashville State. Currently out here to build the things. I began with the spring of 23. And since that time, I've been charged with supporting wider healthcare all rates across Iowa, 70 campuses with a focus at workforce that and work with our privileged tour partners on Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Central State Conference, HTA, and as well as our leading partners like Irving, Web, Tennessee, Rise and Asheville, our Little Ryan, and to cultivate the weird training kind of lives across the like those specialists and create policies from a man-made dive.
But I am Blake Bratcher, partner in Flagship Healthcare Properties. We're a full-service real estate firm and solely focused on elimination done. We buy existing buildings, invest in existing buildings, build ground and also property manage all of your properties. Primary investment vehicle was Flagship Healthcare Troopist. It's a private non-trade REIT when this has in Southern Mid-Atlantic, Southeast. I am a lifelong and proud Nashvilleian. This community means what to me. I'm an active and not served the board member in 413 Strong, which is a job I this program here in town. Does great work and supports a lot of strategies to workers as well. But
That's great, and that's great. We got some good questions, and so I don't think we're going to need all of the questions. That's 10 cakes. Yeah, wait, follow question. I don't know if it's the list. It's scary. This question is for everybody. And then healthcare information campus doesn't influence development and the unique connection in the area of the island. Arik, let's talk to you.
yeah, I think that our institutions like colleges and universities, as well as healthcare institutions, are unique in that when we invest in physical plant expansion, we're investing within a signal towards permanence. So these are facilities. Belmont's been around 135 years. We'll be around 135 more. So when we build a building, we're thinking about longevity in mind and how that asset will relate with the community, shape the community, should be a part of it for alignment. I am with Murat State University, and I've been doing conducting research on the impact of higher education since I came in 2025 years ago. Um, the one thing that these students you should do is bring stable employment to their education and also attract talent. Of course, when you have these elements together, then it's going to actually create significant ramp for any type of business, real estate type of investment in the residential world. Because you kind of see around those hills, you know, said, well, 120 years, there's MTSU, we are there on the same time. You know, they've been around those communities, and then you could see a corridor is in the activities that show us on these campuses, and they are not going away. Unlike some businesses, for example, when you see a building something, you move on. But these institutions, they are stable as your communities that they are, I mean, sort of those ones that's very good.
Mentally, living in the healthcare Catholic treatment across our service region, we think about creating opportunities for communities in order to build and develop healthcare smart. Looking across the region recently, coming up again, full areas, we have really campuses where we've already maintained the meaningful print for years, but both Dixon and Clarksville at Clarksville campus recently came online, and in Dixon, next week we'll have a campus to Dixon Center of Higher Education partnership with TCAT Hatchville. Will be both with an emphasis on aligning for best ways that are going to be in the create opportunity here locally. At the White Bridge campus, we got a total renovation and redevelopment of our health sciences building to meet a 4-year create opportunity, and certainly being on the first mode, so then in contact with the crowd and excited board as our recently linked to work renovation of our East Day with the Davidson campus, where we only have offering comprehensive work training in partnership cardiology and adult education, and specializing in that by the go with the South.
On the healthcare front, healthcare developments we think are catalysts for community growth. These facilities become anchors in the community. It's a ripple effect that we've seen development spur things being anchored to things. One, these healthcare developments are to with economic engine, creating construction jobs, but also operational jobs for those within. In addition, in our projects, we usually will use local lenders in the community to keep that cap within the community. The second thing is a lot of these healthcare developments are driving the change to a more community-centered care model. The lasting trend is that healthcare is coming to where people work that live more accessible to patients. And what happens in that is that facility, that system becomes weaved into the fabric of that community, and they become familiar and a trusted resource as opposed to like an institution.
So, Blake, let's keep rolling through. This question's for you.
For the one being
For your now, on your experience working across ambulatory outpatient healthcare settings, how has campus strategies and site selection evolved? This care continues to shift often to the patient's leading patient.
Thank you. That question goes to the parliament, the change that we're seeing, transformation in healthcare. The monolithic hospital campus is now moving to a East Central Montgomery's Albin spoke time. The hub being the hospital for acute care, and the spokes being a support system of facilities in the surrounding communities, freestanding EVs, urgent cares, ambulatory surgery centers. Those are being selected based upon where the patient need is. And so that's a little different to be upon, right? And so with that, site selection has become much more sophisticated than data-driven. Patient populations, traffic times, visibility, all of those things, payer mix, to make sure that we're really convenient locations, face-to-face, and the staff that's going to occupy that as well.
Thank you. John, given your roles and the intersection of healthcare, clothing, and education, how has National State approached partnership with training negotiate where our programs are delivered within our needs?
Well, under Dr. Shauna Jackson's leadership, we are very employee facing. She's amongst us. She is a rock seller. Knowing her, that means we're in working closely with the employers. Conveniently enough, and to make my great AP was created to help support this area with you. Now, and I had to since that specifically looking at Berkeley was fun. Now, I think Brent had to call we have got Dr. Jackson and the leadership team's vision to a fully dedicated, outfitted campus and in East Davis and ultimately we had the dedicated medical space, lecture space, where we are meeting our employer needs and providing training and course for allied and speculative medical systems, other process, and tech, patient care. List goes on as to identify names with the employers. Very important to know as well that it is not just a space and infrastructure investment. And most importantly, for those here that are involved in instruction, curriculum, training into people with investment into them. And to that, we've done what's named contracted staff who kept flowing, kept us moving forward. It was full investment and at the top, full-time training the staff, meeting our training needs, as well as more concept of those things. And college, a lot of getting working was that means that since 23 years, we're over 30, was some hundreds of students certified, 50 exceeding national averages, the workforce, the gain in vision the school. Murat, from a regional economic perspective, what does data tell us, man, how healthcare says HII was investments translate into Atlanta income growth within times like jobs, small business activities, and government?
As I mentioned, I've been able studying and looking into especially middle industry. Since our first study was 2005, actually, that study was in cooperation with the beyond digital state. I was looking at, talents who were in high wide education out in fuel this community. And during that time, the impact was this is over $6 billion impact just to the institutions themselves. We are not talking about their presence here. And at that time, we also estimate that over 500,000 people every year converge at these campuses. You said it's cleaned up the population of people in the regions, amazing. And you could probably, multiply that on 3 times, right? With 1.5 billion people, simply there will be
Well, and we're the outnation and then business, which oftentimes we're going into surrounding those existing medical workloads. The making them have those pressure from this place, but so you lamp like others to even increasingly interested in the NAP breeds. We just invested in leading a project in the flow community where we converted it in 150,000 square foot call center into a multi-specialty medical facility, lease medical system. And in that case, we took a $4 million into a full like providing essential care, which we think is a really good leverage existing. And then the third, and I heard Desmond saying on the other hand, having the night keep maintaining, right? So we're going to do development. We are to leverage and manage in engaging unity. We oftentimes work with health system, the physician providers to go bring the peers team. And so for us, we think that supports creating our own rather than the pressure that's blanking islands. And we're grateful to share the negative path.
Yeah, I would
just as shameless abundance on the rails with trust. And I think that growth without trust creates friction. Um, but growth with a trust creates a shared prosperity. So for us, it's about knowing our neighborhoods, engaging with our neighborhood on a consistent basis. It is working hard for sure. But I have to be honest, the growth of Belmont has changed the 12th cell into these somewhat wickedly neighborhoods. But it is how do we be responsible in our stewardship of our aim, I guess what the word I should have made was, and building trust to avoid looking at our chief trust officer facing one or two general counsel and is engaged in advocacy.
Good way, and I touch on themes, but I'm presenting what that looks like at national states. Uh, Across our region, instead of we strive to be and anchors and touchdowns within the community. Something you mentioned in terms of repurposing space. If you look around our campuses and our campus curriculum in Southeast, to say like here today, for words, lifelong Williams, that was formerly the Hickory Hall of Mott. That is now Nashville State Southeast Campus, where we are delivering high quality education and professional access to our students in the community. East Davidson, again, a perfect example, a dormant campus that has now been repurposed to provide comprehensive workforce supports for the communities around us. And I think a perfect encapsulation of this, also when we think about not just repurposing, but building. Talina Wrigley is here, our campus director for Waverly and Dixon. Our Dixon Center of Higher Education will be sharing with CCAT Dixon, so an area that one fully to the campus, east one side, and there's a V center of our athletic. If you look at the rest of the other way, there's Tri North, and Wood Singer. So it's I think encapsulation academic, but that pathway the Wrigley Susan, what there's a Western and what them was like.
Just to set you the point and pitching things they have to big and really create significant opportunities for me. But the housing is really limited people. Housing I'm with. If you be and then it's just good with trust. I think that's very important. And many of the people coming join these good institutions unable to pay $7. And I think it's briefly part of that, said, we are sent out like that was of empire team that we understand that, so leaders should coordinate. These might go back to the B's, rather that just simply, expanding of the old things, but, so that's part of the skill, something you focused and grabbing a forward name. So my question, gentlemen, over the next family that conversation will have a biggest impact. Healthcare is just the solution to support outreach. I would say workforce to study the human talent pipeline, especially this critically important. And going back to my show with also statement about the coordination. Yeah, the coordination, it's a video of the zoning, we show us planning the to make sure that growing actually happens to the coordinated level so that the community benefits tremendous. Yeah, I would say that is our institutions invest in to kind of real estate and infrastructure. It creates relationship density and relationship is economic infrastructure. And in Nashville in particular, I think we've benefited a legacy of doing things like this and being and building relationships. But I think our continued planning, it does talk about broadband expansion and issues with electricity, but what is our relationship? It has to be as an economic driver as well. And so our campuses promote emphasize that cross-sector collaboration. Yes, we are providing students to go out in the peers. We were also providing space for the community to campaign and working together to solve the city's issue.
My young peers calling and so student, really got to the point this question about and what they'll but first down to that. Funding of those lands which we insist that future here rooms chief education with the education, the academic, the employment sector, how integrated as academic institutions will we going to be within clear and certainly false citizens are lenient when then 5 years ago, this year ago, 20 years ago, to that end. And some we are very much my friend and Peter are direct about and embedded. We are appreciative. I try. Well, what does that look like in the tradition? They said in movie as for your state, like a throwing that is a word else care needed within an already stack myth. So continuing, we're bleeding further in on temporary and physical relationship within the weirdness while maintaining lines the stuff delivery decision how late whatever now. Say that every class and I mean we're out here out for the medicine in the meeting.
In on the healthcare side, three names and for the healthcare institutions to support regional brigade areas that willingness that selected deployment of those outpatient facilities, those monks, and as regulation changes, all of those things are going to be important in your you think, and those that do it well and do it ultimately will win that race. And two, investment in skill and so adaptable facilities. A community that you're building skill trends, adaptable ways in that when regulations change, it will shift. As a hero, you can do that. And then to also think about on designing discipline, like how a team. And the third thing is strategic market selection. Is that we bear with one, especially in the Southeast. I mean, demographic tailwinds are undeniable. Green inoculants and also growing senior population. And those that make optimal long-year compassion communities are going to lead the way there. And that's going to support community growth and make that patients have better ends. And
It's amazing. And the books are, and if we're reading that go into people have the tools to tell me that amazing. But it's, it's pretty good. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me. Like now having told. Thank you.